Despite the racism and repression that Bantu education represented, upon its introduction and throughout the 60s and early 70s, there was little widespread resistance to it. Though occasional backlash would arise, no movements against Bantu education gained much traction until 1974. In 1974, the Minister of Bantu Education and Development announced the Afrikaans medium degree. This mandate required that Afrikaans be used as the language of instruction from Standard 5 on. Despite immediate backlash from the African Teachers Association, the policy was enforced. The policy was hated by large sections of the black population, who viewed Afrikaans as the language of apartheid and the language of their repression. On the 30th of April, students at a junior school in Soweto walked out of class and went on strike. As the strike spread to other local schools, students from the Soweto Students' Representative Council began organization of a peaceful mass rally against Bantu education for the 16th of June. They had with them the support of the wider Black consciousness movement and many teachers. On the morning of the 16th, somewhere between 10 and 20,000 students walked out of schools across Soweto, intending to meet at Orlando West Secondary School. However, as they were marching, they encountered police barricades set up across the city. Students began to approach the barricades peacefully, with organizers spreading the word not to engage in any violence. However, as students stood their ground, South African security forces released dogs and tear gas. Shortly thereafter, police began to open fire on students all across the city. Once shots began, the situation descended into chaos. Students began setting fire to government buildings, buses, bars popular among Afrikaans populations, targeting anything they seen as either representative of or supporting the apartheid government. As protests continued, the death toll mounted. By evening, the government had largely quelled the unrest. The official death toll stood at 23, but later estimates would say that it was closer to 176, with hundreds more injured. What had begun as a peaceful protest against Bantu education had descended into rioting and chaos. Rioting continued for the next 3 days, at which point all schools in Soweto were closed. Rioting began to spread quickly across the country and would trigger one of the largest outbreaks of violence ever seen under apartheid law. Police would continue to be unable to stop the rioting, even while using deadly force. Though most of the rioting and protest had calmed down by the end of the year, the African National Congress would channel much of the residual anger among youth into political activism, as the fight against Bantu education would be slowly folded into the larger struggle against apartheid. Though Bantu education was officially repealed in 1979, 2 years after the Soweto uprisings, it was replaced with the Education and Training Act, which would continue racially segregated education.
Created using Bantu.